If you're looking for all the NFL division winners in 2023, then look no further. For the next few minutes, whatever device you're watching this video on will essentially become a crystal ball. As my good friend Paul Heyman would say, these are not predictions. These are spoilers. Now, before we get into it, this video is brought to you by NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV, and I have to give a huge shout out to them because not only are they sponsoring this video, they sent me to San Francisco, where I got to watch one of my projected division winners. That's what we call a tease over here in the TV business. Levi's Stadium was incredible. I got to host some trivia with the Niner fans and then watch Mr. Extremely Relevant Brock Purdy beat up on the Chargers' second-string defense. This was also on the same day that Trey Lance got traded, so a little awkward, but still a great time. So thanks again to NFL Sunday Ticket. Because of them, I got to go see a game I wouldn't normally have a chance to watch, and you can do the same from your couch every Sunday. With NFL Sunday Ticket now on YouTube and YouTube TV, you can watch your favorite team's out-of-market Sunday afternoon games every week, no 2-year contract required. And you have the option to bundle with or without 100+ live TV channels like ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, and ESPN. Get $50 off NFL Sunday Ticket now by clicking the link in the description. So yeah, if you're trying to watch a non-local team, that is not a problem, and that's a good thing because I'll be watching the Patriots from the heart of downtown Denver all season long, hoping that the franchise isn't completely toast just because Tom Brady left. Fingers crossed. Again, NFL Sunday Ticket now on YouTube and YouTube TV. Just click the link below for $50 off. Okay, without further ado, my division spoilers, not predictions, starting with the team I teased. In the NFC West, we've got the San Francisco 49ers. I know, real bold of me picking the 49ers, but sometimes it's best not to overthink these things. The Trey Lance saga is finally over and will go down as the most destructive experiment in the state of California since the Stanford prison experiment, but that's okay because 7th rounder Brock Purdy is here to save the day, and probably the jobs of the entire front office and coaching staff. And he's got plenty of weapons to work with. The Niners don't just have one of the best skill groups in the NFL, they have the most versatile, without question. This team will line up Kyle Juszczyk at tight end, Debo in the backfield, Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle out wide, and that's just the first snap of the game. Definitely makes life easier on the quarterback when the opposing defense's brains are put in a blender before the ball's even snapped. And then you've got the Niners defense, which has given teams nightmares for years, and now they've added another Freddy Krueger in the form of Javon Hargrave. San Francisco continues to have one of the most well-rounded rosters in all of football. Now, I do expect the Seahawks to compete. After all, they were only a game out of first place as late as week 13 last season, and they only got better, but I think the Niners are the better all-around team. As for the Rams and Cardinals, this season is probably going to be an unmitigated disaster for both teams. One has absolutely no defense to speak of, and the other has a QB room of Josh Dobbs and Clayton Tune. If you're a Rams or Cardinals fan, you might want to find a different hobby this year. In the NFC East, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles. I know, I promise not all my picks are just the winners from last year, just be patient. But how could I pick anyone else? The Eagles have the best quarterback in the division. In fact, they have the only elite quarterback in the entire NFC. Seriously, why is the AFC hoarding all the quarterbacks? Then you've got the skill guys, and even though the 49ers are a more versatile group, from a pure talent perspective, the Eagles are right there. You've got two #1 receivers lined up across from each other, one of the most steady tight ends in the league if for some reason one of those guys isn't open. And then yeah, there's a bit of a gaggle of running backs now with Swift, Penny, and Gainwell, but they're running behind the league's best offensive line. Then if you want to talk defense, Philly did lose a lot of pieces, but I'm pretty confident that the horde of Georgia reinforcements coming in to fill that void will do just fine. Overall, this should be one of the most competitive divisions in football again this year. The Cowboys arguably have just as talented of a roster as the Eagles. The Giants just won a playoff game, and now they got Daniel Jones a real weapon with Darren Waller. And the Commanders might be the most underrated team in football now that they have Eric Bieniemy, a quarterback I have high hopes for, and a deadly receiver duo to go with a solid defense. Last year, not a single team in this division finished below 500, and I would not be shocked if that happened again. But when it's all said and done, it'll be the Eagles flying on top. The NFC North, how about the Detroit Lions? That's right, I am drinking the Kool-Aid on Dan Campbell and the Motor City Kitties. This team's arrow is firmly pointing up with young talent like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamison Williams. Eventually. Not to mention one of the best offensive lines in the league and a defense that addressed their biggest weakness by adding 3 veterans to the secondary so other teams will stop trying to airstrike them all game. It feels weird to call the Lions the most stable team in this division because they've been anything but stable, basically forever, but they're the only team in the NFC North not facing major question marks. The Vikings are coming off of one of the flukiest seasons in NFL history, somehow going 13-4 despite having a negative point differential, so we have no idea how good they actually are. The Bears went out and signed a bunch of guys in free agency to fix their defense and traded for DJ Moore to help Justin Fields, but we have no clue if Justin Fields is actually going to take that next step. And the Packers have the NFL's biggest mystery under center. Meanwhile, the Lions took a team that went 9-8 last year and improved it. Simple. I expect the Detroit Lions to bite kneecaps all the way to their first division title since 1993. Rounding out the NFC is everyone's favorite dumpster fire division, the NFC South, where I will be picking the New Orleans Saints. You thought there were question marks in the NFC North? Yeah, allow me to introduce you to the NFC South, where uncertainty reigns supreme and there's a chance that no team is particularly good. But I ended up settling on the Saints mostly because of their quarterback situation. Derek Carr's nothing special, but as far as 2023 is concerned, he should be the best quarterback in this division by a pretty wide margin. Bryce Young's a rookie, Baker Mayfield's just trying to hang on to a starting job, and Desmond Ridder is a 3rd-round pick who's unlikely to be anything more than a mobile game manager. Hello, Tyrod Taylor 2.0. I think Carr is going to go on a bit of a revenge tour. He got unceremoniously booted from Las Vegas, and he's going to be motivated to prove that Jimmy G is not an upgrade. He's still got great weapons to work with, and this defense, although it may be getting older, should be plenty good enough to handle the Saints' cakewalk schedule. Seriously, they play like 4 good quarterbacks all year. I'm going with the Saints, but honestly, I see this playing out similar to last year, where yeah, somebody's got to win the division, but whoever does probably isn't going to do much after that. But hey, if we can just get a single team in the NFC South to have a winning record this year, I'll call that a win. Moving over to the AFC and starting with the AFC West, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs. Duh. Last year I predicted this division would be way more competitive than it actually was, but that's what I get for buying into the Russ hype and thinking the Chargers would stay healthy and thinking the Raiders would be anything other than the Raiders. But I've learned my lesson. This is the Chiefs division. As a Patriots fan, I hate to say this, but this is really starting to feel like the Belichick-Brady dynasty, where as long as Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are there, you can pretty much just pencil the Chiefs in as division champs every season. We thought last year that maybe losing Tyreek Hill would make the offense take a step back, and all Patrick Mahomes did was throw for his career high in passing yards and his highest touchdown total since 2018. He's an alien. Don't bet against an alien. I do think the Chargers and Broncos will be a little better this year since they both addressed major coaching deficiencies, but I don't expect either one to challenge for the AFC West crown while Mahomes is still Mahomesing. As for the Raiders, they're more likely to be competing for the #1 draft pick than a division title. In the AFC East, it's the Buffalo Bills. This is less about me having an unwavering belief in the Bills and more about me just not buying into the Jets hype. I do think New Jersey, or New York, will be good and probably challenge for a wild card spot, but betting on a team with a shaky offensive line that's trying to protect a quarterback who will be 40 in December feels like a dicey proposition. So give me the Bills, who won 13 games last year and have won the AFC East every year since Tom Brady left. The defense is still very good even with Von Miller slated to miss the first 4 games, and the offense might be able to help Josh Allen a little more this year if Gabe Davis is healthy and Dalton Kincaid becomes what they want him to be. The only thing I worry about with the Bills is the fatigue of not finishing the job. Will the fact that they keep falling short demoralize them over time? We'll have to wait and see. As for the other teams, the Dolphins are good. I just don't expect them to make that leap from good to great, especially with their biggest offseason acquisition set to miss a big chunk of the season. And the Patriots, although they have nowhere to go but up with Matt Patricia out of town, there's only so far you can go when you have the worst quarterback in the division, as much as that hurts me to say. In the AFC North, we're going with the Baltimore Ravens. It seems sacrilegious these days to bet against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. Sort of, because I expect this division to be decided by only a game or two, so it's not like I'm predicting the Bengals will fall off. That would be stupid. Instead, I'm just predicting that more things go right for the Ravens this year, and they can remind people that a healthy version of their team was never that far behind the Bengals to begin with. I'm banking on a healthier Lamar Jackson this year. I think the leg injuries are finally behind him, and considering the Ravens gave him a 5-year, $260 million contract, they probably think the same. Baltimore also brought in Todd Monken from Georgia to be the offensive coordinator and provide a more dynamic passing attack, so Lamar could be in for his best statistical season since he won MVP in 2019. Remember, this team kept pace with Cincinnati in the playoffs with Tyler Huntley leading the charge. I just think it's time for Lamar to remind people who he really is, and I think that'll translate to a division title. Again, I think the Bengals finish about 1 game behind them, so they're still going to be elite, while the Steelers hover around 10 wins in 3rd place, and the Browns, well, Deshaun might be cooked, so they might be trash. And last but not least, the AFC South will go to the obvious choice, the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you were to go back and utter that exact sentence 10 years ago, you might have been locked up in a mental hospital. But this is 2023, and the Jaguars are by far the hottest team in the division. Trevor Lawrence took a big step forward last year. What a surprise that all he needed was a head coach that knew what he was doing. But now that he's got 2 years under his belt, people are rightfully expecting another leap forward that would put him among the league's best quarterbacks. And considering all this guy has ever done at every level is perform and win, I can understand that expectation. Especially when you add Calvin Ridley to the mix, a guy who by all accounts is going to be the new alpha receiver on a team that already had good weapons. This is a team that's clearly ascending, and the only other team I expect to be competitive in this division is one that's descending. They may very well have another year or two of competitive play before they have to tear it all down, but that teardown is coming. Ryan Tannehill's 35, Derrick Henry's about to be 30, DeAndre Hopkins is 31. There's just not a lot to be excited about in Tennessee going forward. That is, unless you have faith in Mayo Boy. Meanwhile, the Texans and Colts have already started their rebuild, and I think both teams have fairly bright futures with the quarterbacks they drafted. I'm just not expecting much in year 1. So there you go. Place your bets. Those are all your division winners in 2023. And if I end up being wrong, the only explanation is that we must have slipped into another timeline at some point during the season, and I can't be blamed for that. Also, thank you to NFL Sunday Ticket once again. Remember to catch the lowest full season price of the season for NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV. Sign up now to watch your favorite team's out-of-market Sunday afternoon games every week. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.